identity deficit. And I'm going to be asking a few questions as to how have we gotten to the point that we have categorized our identity and illustrated it as something very close as CryptoCoin. We're going to be discussing about this and also going to be finding a way to navigate around that. First, why is your identity not CryptoCoin? You'd want to imagine that perhaps if I ask you, is our world now turning into what I call the world of social chameleon? If I'm to ask you, are you going to agree with that? Or if I tell you that now we are living in the era called the era of the social chameleon. Every morning when we wake up, we are very quick at putting on a mask that is made for different events. Each time we are stepping out, we have different masks that we wear for different events. Whether it's for vacation, whether it's for meeting people, whether it's for an interview, we never forget to put on that mask. On LinkedIn, we are corporate strategists. On Instagram, we are nothing but a carefree traveler, where each time we have a shot that we post on Instagram, waiting for someone to like it, and also waiting for people to share whatever we post. And in the lecture hall like this, we are nothing but a very quiet conformist. You can see, we are all conforming to this situation because we already have that mask on us. And while we are doing all of this, we have become an expert in trading ourselves, our quality, our authentic personality. We are trading them for nothing but for social validation. And how did we get here? How do we get to a point where we end up having an identity that is not ours, having to stick to identity of other people just to feel among and also just to feel comfortable? We are facing what I call the global crash. But this time around, it's not the crash of finance, it is the crash of the identity, where we find ourselves from a situation where we are trying to manage our identity, but now we are getting to a point where our identity is completely lost. How did we get here? Let's talk about this. Let's try to dissect how you and I got to the point of picking and also imbibing the identity of another person just to feel comfortable. Again, I'm going to tell you that this is what I call identity deficit. Just like in finance, financial deficit happens when your expenditure exceeds your income. You all know about the buy now, pay later. You know about the hire purchase. But identity deficit occurs when the external demand for you to fit in exceeds your internal conviction to stand out. When you have a crisis inside of you, that you are trying to fight yourself, whether to stick to the popular trend or to stick to your own identity. We treat our identity like speculative coin. You all know about crypto, right? Where it's always fluctuating, it is up this right now, in the next 2 hours, it is down. We train our emotion and our soul just like that. Why? Because we are always expecting the likes, we're expecting the nod, and we're also expecting the slightest moment of acceptance. And when we don't get that, what happens? We feel so low inside our bones. And we have tried to bring our social life as being managed with our personal choices. Let me give you an instance. I wear several caps. And one of those caps is a trainer. I train not in football, but in leadership and management. In one of my classes, after getting in, introduced myself to my students, and they were so calm and they were so forward-looking to what I want to teach them. After doing that, I went straight to telling them that, hey, everybody, take a sheet of paper and draw out what you think you are. It is awkward, right? Yes. Just like when I tell you all to bring out a paper and draw out what you think you look like. Of course, it seems very simple because you've seen yourself probably maybe 20 times between morning and right now. But that was what they also feel. They felt it was simple. And trust me, they never took me seriously. Only 3% of them could consciously craft out what they think they are, even though it doesn't really look like them, but they tried. But many of them were so sarcastic and they were so simplistic as well to reducing their identity to an apple shape or even a box-like structure of what they think they are. But you know what the game is? My interest was not to test their artistic prowess. My intention was to test how attentive are they to their personal differences and those distinctive features that they have that differentiate them from one another. But tonight you don't need to worry. I'm not going to ask you to draw what you look like. But I can challenge you to take this as a task. Perhaps tomorrow you can take your time to draw out what you are right now, what you think you look like, and you can connect that to what you want to be tomorrow. That is the foundation of your identity. Again, a quick definition of what identity is. I just want to, for the sake of clarity, so that we are able to try to understand what we meant when we talk about identity. Simply put, identity deficits can be similar to what is called the crisis of choices. When you are at a point that you don't know what to choose, or when you are at a point that you are empty, you have that emptiness in yourself, and you can't choose, what do I stand for? And in most of those cases, when you cannot choose, you end up picking the choices of other people and ending up making that as your own persona. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever generation you are, we all at one point in time face what is called identity deficit. Whether you are a local student from Selangor or an international student from Senegal, whether you are from Ipoh or from India, whether you are from Nilai or you are from Nigeria, I found out a trend of deficit. I found out a trend that we are beginning to have a loss in our identity. And the next question is, how did we get here? How do we arrive at trading our quality self, our authentic self, just for a world that celebrates nothing but copies? And how can we go back to our roots? First, how did we get here? The first thing is about what I call the inflation of ego. The inflation of ego. You understand? Many a time, just because we want to trend and we want to belong and we want to be seen as, oh, quote unquote, is fine, is doing well, we try to paint a market value that does not exist for ourselves. Imagine a student walking into one of the biggest malls in KL and setting up his table with his gadgets, his tripod, his gadgets, his phones, and also a cup of matcha. Putting it on the table and taking a shot. Then straight to the Instagram post with the caption, "Soft Life." And after 5 minutes, going back to the post to read how many people liked, how many people shared it. Soft life. Soft indeed. But many people are not aware of the reality. We are not aware of the behind the scene. We are not aware that these same students might be suffering from paralysis